What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So today I wanted to talk about some of the statues that have been on my mind recently. Statues have always been on my mind, but like specifically new ones that I'm like, ooh, I would love that. But I'm also in this predicament with my collection where I am completely maxed out on space, folks. Like, there is just no which way about it. I am completely maxed out. Every single empty spot in the collection is pretty much taken for. Like this, Z Warriors. That's going to fill up the entire shelf. So it's like, I want new stuff. I don't want to sell anything, but I'm completely maxed out. I mean, there are some things I would sell, but the losses I would take make it just not worth it, in my opinion. Like if I could sell Hulkbuster and get $3,500 or even $3,000 after shipping, I would sell that. Now, I don't sell it because I don't like it. I sell it because a bust would go better in this display. That's the only reason. I really love that piece. I think it's absolutely phenomenal, but a bust would go better. If I could get, ideally, at least $2,000 after shipping for all that, I would get rid of that. Specifically, so I could do Wolverine and Deadpool, with a bust. I would want maybe the Iron Studios new 1/4, or just do my 1/4, but I want a Wolverine and Deadpool display. I was a huge fan of that movie. I'd love I don't like where they're at right now, so I'd love to do that. That's something that's definitely been on my mind for, specifically this room, is just this display as Wolverine and Deadpool, and then here, another MCU bust. I mean, Jupiter. Thinking of busts I would want, there's obviously the unmasked Tony Stark one, but that does double up the Iron Man bust in the display. If we got a new character, if we're looking at that Infinity War, the most ideal options would be Star-Lord. He would go good. Goodness, he's probably like, if you got to do a main character, not a B-level character. Like, if you're going to do a main character, Star-Lord would probably be a really good one. I guess technically Ant-Man could also work. Scarlet Witch would be pretty cool. I wouldn't really care for any other Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of a life-size busts. I got Black Panther already. Of course, Hawkeye would be my most wanted piece. If we could get Hawkeye, then I would definitely do him. But that's, But yeah, in terms of this room, that's kind of what's been on my mind. In here, so we're getting the Queen T-Rex, and plan A right now is to just throw it here. We're going to remove this shelf, remove all that crap, and throw it right here. It will go more, probably the base will go like right here. Because I don't want the T-Rex blocking the TV when I'm playing gaming and whatnot. But I think it will look really cool here. It's not as wide as this table. It's like 40 inches wide, probably 40 inches deep in terms of like the base diameter. But then, of course, you have the rocks in the back and the T-Rex, coming forward. But that is, something I'm really looking forward to. And I'm real curious if I could, if there is enough space to potentially do something even next to it. The other thing that's definitely been on my mind a lot lately is ECC's Hellboy. Hellboy and Abe Sapien. I'm like, they could go really good right here. You do Abe Sapien there, Hellboy there. I'm like, man, that'd look really cool. I definitely would love that. I'd love to get the bust as well, but if I had to choose, I'd do the 2 1/3s. I feel like they'd go really good in that display. I've also thought about the PCS Howling, which I still need to watch the movie, and their 1/3 Pumpkinhead, because that'd go good right there. Howling there, Pumpkinhead there, and then right there you do Candyman. I feel like that would go really good. In terms of like true horror, I think that would make this wall better. Because then you'd get rid of the 1/4 Pumpkinhead and actually have a 1/3 version. You get a werewolf in this display, which we don't have. And then Candyman. Although technically we don't have a vampire in this display. Obviously Vampirella is one, but if you remove her, we don't have a vampire. Of course, you got this that they're all vampires. But horror-wise and theme-wise, I think it would go better in this display. You know, I love Redsonian Vampirella, but there's no doubt the Howling, One Third Pumpkinhead, and Candyman would fit this overall display better. Now, in terms of statue to statue, I choose these any day over the week over the PCS ones I've mentioned. Hellboy and Ape Sapien are very expensive. They would probably be better than them. They would also fit the theme quite well, although I feel like their theme goes better with Underworld and Blade. But I definitely would love to get those, because ECC 1/3 are some of the best statues out there, folks. They really are. You know, but as of this moment, I'm not pre-ordering them, especially if, you know, because I don't want to sell the girls because I really like them. You know, if I could find a way to move them somewhere else, then I would probably do the Ape Sapien and Hellboy. I would do that over the PCS, especially since PCS is actually a more expensive route. Like, they're the most expensive route. Their Howling and Pumpkinhead are $3,000 plus shipping each, where Ape Sapien's like $2,250. And ECC is definitely far superior than PCS in terms of quality. So I definitely think PCS really overpriced those statues. I'm sure they're really cool in person, but I'd choose Hellboy over them. But yeah, for this room, that of course has been, you know, something I've thought about quite a bit. You know, I would love to somehow move my Prime 1 Predator in here, but Jupiter. I actually got a buyer for the Prime 1 Predator little closed mouth bust, so I'm going to be selling it. I don't need it, especially since I'll have, you know, I got my life-size bust of that. You know, and as you know, in this room, the big topic on mind is, are we going to do an anime shelf? That's definitely something that's been top of mind. I really need to get that Vegeta bus in person. You know, I think it's going to cause a lot of issues doing an anime shelf. Giving up an entire garage shelf is just, it's too much, considering I still want to add more video game statues. You know, like Prime 1's Demon Souls. I really like that. We're going to be adding V to the Devil May Cry line. We have God of War Ragnarok eventually. And I want to add an Eve, a Tifa Lockhart. So space is definitely a huge concern. And I just don't know if I could... I definitely couldn't give up this type of shelf. I think if we had to do it, it'd be better to move DBZ over here, because then you only give up a 36-inch shelf and not a 48-inch wide shelf. You know, and you make this all 3 tiers. And then this, I mean, theoretically, you could make it a 3-tier and just move video games inside here. But I think if we were going to do DBZ and potentially an anime shelf, you would make this a 3-tier. And you'd have to do him and, you know, Naruto on one shelf, 2 other animes, and then top shelf Vegeta Bus and Vegeta, which I don't know if they could fit on that shelf. But yeah, it's definitely something been on my mind. The anime shelf. I think I'm leaning more towards not doing it, but we really just got to get that Vegeta Bus in person. But for other video games, Demon Souls definitely from Prime 1, and then Eve, Tifa. Those are highly important to me. And frankly, I've even thought about the Assassin's Creed statue since I've been getting into those games lately. The Ezio 1/4 by Pure Arts is pretty sick. It's also kind of a space hog. So, in this room, it's kind of a few things. So, in a perfect world, I would not have the Predator in here. Instead, I would do the Infinity Studios Neytiri bust, right where the Predator 1/3's at. And where that Fell Beast is, you could do the 1/3 Neytiri. She would absolutely fit there, and they would look glorious. You do an Avatar poster, maybe even throw some 1/10 scales in the back, and do some, you know, leaves and make it an Avatar theme. I think that would be really freaking cool. You know, and then Pure Arts Gollum bust. You know, I think we can do one of 2 places for it. Down there next to Prime 1 Frodo, or theoretically I could just throw it right here where that's at. I mean, the only thing it'd block is the cape, which isn't much, but you could definitely fit it right there. It's not a big piece. You know, but, and then of course you have the Prime 1 Cave Troll, which I know I'm going to want it, but the space that one will command is going to be absolutely enormous. And I'm just like, I don't have that space. I really don't. I would love to add the Prime 1, what's this bucket? Scorponok and it's not the companion piece, I'm forgetting the name. And then also Blackout. I'd love to, frankly have a Decepticon line down low. If I could do all Decepticons down there, I think that'd be really cool. And then this is like the Autobots, Decepticons, and then just the big grails. So, yeah. For this room, that's definitely been, it's kind of on mind. Now, I am getting the Deep Tail Predator bust, which is going to replace that Fell Beast right there, and I want to see how that looks. And once we get the Queen T-Rex, we can kind of determine how much space it truly takes, if there's any additional space in that middle room that wouldn't make it cluttered or block too much. Like putting something behind it is what I mean, or maybe even to the side. But yeah, that's kind of, I think, what's been on my mind as of late, and I don't know if any of that will come to pass. I definitely love that Neytiri bust quite a bit. However, when I do compare Neytiri to the Predator, so Neytiri 1/3 versus that Predator 1/3, Predator wins. And the Predator bust versus Neytiri bust, I think the base is far better on the Neytiri bust, but the actual bust itself is better on the Predator bust, in my opinion. There's just more to see, 2 heads, and it's just, overall looks cooler, in my opinion, than Neytiri. So I'm like, yeah, I know it's a duplicate because I already have a 1/3 Predator and bust, but it is cooler than Neytiri in that aspect. But a lot of the future stuff just depends on, a few statue releases when I get them in hands. Vegeta bust, T-Rex bust, stuff like that. A few potential releases. I'm still waiting for that perfect Tifa Lockhart 1/4. The best I've seen so far is by Dayu, but I do not like the pose. I like the face, I like the base, I hate the pose. It's a terrible pose, and so for that reason I never bought her. But I'm waiting for a good Tifa with a good pose, a good base, a good likeness. Waiting for that Eve. There's been a few more Eve customs out there, but they're all horrible. Not a single one is good. Really hoping Prime 1 just gets the license and gives us a epic Eve statue with some creatures on the base, with a cool pose, with the classic OG costume. Give me that, Prime 1. Or the final costume. But, time will tell, folks. Time will tell. Just wanted to give you guys an idea of what's going on in the Flankster brain right now. Not to say that any of this will come to pass, but it's definitely something I've thought of, So, time will tell, but I think the Vegeta bust and T-Rex getting in hands is going to, definitely determine some things. Also, the Deep Tail Predator bust, once I get that in hands, and I'm like, okay, I don't think it could replace that, considering that display. I like how everything's like same height level, and Deep Tail, if you put it there, it'd be like up there. It's just too tall, and the shorter Deep Tail would not work as well because it'd be too short. So for this particular display, we're not doing Deep Tail. Deep Tail has to go next to Prime 1 Predator. So yeah, we will see what happens, folks. There's always the option that, what if Queen T-Rex doesn't fit in my basement? What if I can't get it through my stairs? That would be a huge issue, of course. That means it'd have to be displayed upstairs. Or if it didn't fit in my house, I'd just have to sell it immediately. But someone told me it does fit through a standard, door. So time will tell. Anyways, folks, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know some of the statues that's been on your guys' mind, because I feel like in general, from people I talk to, there's always statues on the mind. What are you guys thinking about? What are the odds of you picking it up? And I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.